Now, let me transition to an open segment here for this evening. NBC Sports made their return, obviously, this week. And if you look at the timeline, you look at the fan reaction, and you compare it to what we saw at Sonoma last week, I think a lot of people are saying that it's night and day. NBC absolutely clears Fox in terms of their coverage. And people that have watched this show know that we have had these discussions here in the past. My biggest issue with NBC, I think I've discovered, is not that the coverage is bad by any means. I think there are certainly things that could use some improvement. I think the booth in particular, I will always prefer Mike Joy over Rick Allen. I understand others that may feel differently, but that's just my personal taste and what I enjoy in a play-by-play broadcaster. There are things that Fox does better than NBC. There are certainly things that NBC does better than Fox. But the general sentiment, the popular take to have online is that NBC is clearly the better broadcaster by a mile. This is a tweet that I saw that I shared this afternoon because I think that it perfectly encapsulates my thoughts that I have on the NBC broadcast and what happens this time of year. Corey Long at Corey L_me28 showing cars in 20th while 3 cars in the top 5 are battling, cutting to commercial before everyone finished the first stage, not even showing the order for the race off pit road. If Fox did that, everyone would be losing their fill in the blank right now, LMAO. And he continued, I don't even think they've shown a single choose either. Like, seriously, is everyone just delusional? Because I swear to God, if Fox did any of this, everyone would be enraged about it. Now, again, like I mentioned, did some traveling this weekend, was out during Father's Day, didn't get a chance to view the full broadcast from start to finish, so I will acknowledge my ignorance in that regard as we're talking about this particular weekend here. I did get to catch a highlight package, and the only other thing that I really noticed was in the Xfinity race when Allmendinger hit the wall, Rick Allen seemed to notice it much sooner than the cameras did, and by the time the cameras got to Allmendinger, he was already almost at a complete stop in the infield grass. So that's another sort of situation where, again, is it the end of the world? I don't think it necessarily is, but I didn't see a lot of outrage about that in my timeline, and I feel like if that had been Fox's cameras and Mike Joy had been shouting about a crash coming off of turn 4 and the cameras had taken a few seconds to get there, we would have been saying, oh, well, there goes Fox again. Missing a wreck, missing the action because they're too busy showing an irrelevant battle for a different spot on the track. So I guess my message to race fans is that if you prefer NBC over Fox, that's totally fine. Like I said, I don't even know that I disagree with you. I think there are certainly things that NBC does better than Fox. All I ask is that you not let the Fox fatigue get to you, that you just hold NBC to the same standard that you hold Fox to, because I do think we need to hold our broadcasters to a certain standard. We need to make sure that they are treating the sport that we know and love with the respect and the quality that it deserves. Fox obviously has fallen well short of that. You need only look at the fan reaction most weekends, the first half of NASCAR year, or when they just picked up the IndyCar rights this week as well, or this past week rather. Fans having mixed feelings about that and what that could look like next year. We'll probably save those for Grid Schneider or a future roundtable because I have some thoughts on that as well. I don't want to, get into that here while I don't have anybody to bounce off of. But I think that, when it comes to NBC, that's all I ask, that we be fair and we keep things balanced. That if NBC misses something that they shouldn't, if they're not showing something that they should, that we call that out, that we treat it just as we do for the Fox broadcasts, and we can leave it there. But I will say, from what I saw, I thought the coverage was certainly a step up in many respects. I thought it was not a bad broadcast by any means. My frustration really just, I think, stems from the idea that NBC's coming here to save us. They're absolutely perfect. It's so great to have them back. And I think sometimes we can kind of get trapped in that thinking and not hold them accountable in the same way that we do Fox, even when they make the same sort of mistakes, which again, may not be as frequent, but do still happen nonetheless because nobody is perfect. So we'll keep an eye on NBC throughout the rest of the year, I'm sure, as well. And certainly the fan reaction to that. But I hope that if you caught the racing this weekend, that you certainly enjoyed it, and seems like it was a good race for the debut of Cup racing at Iowa and the return of NASCAR and NBC, and that's great to see. So hopefully some positive momentum for NASCAR here as we start the second half of the season.